Howdy, yo, folks. Hello, and welcome to my graveyard. I'm your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass. Live and in living color here with you only on Grande's Graveyard. And yes, I know, weird, pre-recorded another one. And I'm also not here to talk about the horror genre. I know it's tragic, but I do love the horror genre. Don't get me wrong. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. But if I had a second favorite, a third favorite, or one of my favorite things to channel that, it would be professional wrestling. I've always been a big professional wrestling fan ever since I was a little kid. And I know it's Wrestlemania season. In fact, the Royal Rumble just was about a week ago, and I watched that with a bunch of friends. And it got me thinking, however many weeks there are till Wrestlemania, I think there's like 10 or 11 as the recording of this video. I was like, you know what? What are my top 10 favorite Wrestlemania matches? And I compiled of a list, and I figured I make it into like a YouTube miniseries where every single week I drop a video discussing one of my top 10 favorite Wrestlemania matches. And that's why I wanted to do this today. Of course, I may record a couple of these today. I may just do a couple of matches and then upload them. So if you see me wearing this, rocking this EO Sky shirt, Lost in the Sky, the genius of the Sky, and I do hope that as a big EO Sky fan as I am, she's my favorite wrestler in the world. I hope that she wins the women's title from Rhea Ripley this year at WrestleMania. But that's way, way away. I don't even know if that's going to happen. In fact, knowing how they book, it could be a situation where she's not even involved in the title match, or the title picture, I should say. So, I mean, it is what it is. We'll see when we get there. But I figured today I start this little countdown, and maybe I'll record one or two videos, and I'll put one in the queue for next week. But I will upload one right here and now. And, of course, we all start the top 10 lists at the bottom, at number 10, the number 10 match on my all-time favorite Wrestlemania matches. And it is actually the earliest match also on this list from the year 1989. This is from Wrestlemania 5. This is Hulk Hogan challenging the Macho Man, Randy Savage, for the WWF Championship at WrestleMania 5, a.k.a. the tagline for the entire pay-per-view in WrestleMania, "When the Mega Powers Explode." Yes, WrestleMania 5. I believe this was taking place at the Trump Towers. This was after WrestleMania 4 and 5, where they had made the deal with Trump Towers in New Jersey to do back-to-back WrestleManias there. And then, of course, I believe with WrestleMania 6 the following year, they went up to Toronto in the Sky Dome when you had Hogan and the Warrior. But this particular match, to me, is just really special. And now Hulk Hogan main evented how many WrestleManias at this time? I mean, if it was WrestleMania, other than WrestleMania like 4, and you were watching WrestleMania, he was the main event of the show. But of all the matches that he main evented, of the Hulk and Andres of the world, Hulk and Bundy's, Hulk and Warrior, Hulk and Slaughter, I don't think you ever had a better opponent / rival for Hulk than the Macho Man Randy Savage. And the thing that I love about old school professional wrestling, right, from the late 80s, early 90s, especially from WWF era, was that there was always a long-term plan in place. WrestleMania 4 ends where the Macho Man Randy Savage wins the tournament. He beats the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, drops the elbow, and wins the world title with Elizabeth on his shoulder and Hulk raising the other hand. I mean, you're on top of the world. You're the WWF champion. And I do believe that Vince McMahon in place and Pat Patterson, respectively, they were the two that I believe booked this together. They had the plan for WrestleMania 5 to be Hulk versus Randy. And that, I believe, was the whole thing. And they don't do that anymore. They don't do that in pro wrestling anymore, where you end one WrestleMania literally planting the first little seed of the main event of your next WrestleMania. And I like that. I like that they did that in the olden days. Of course, Macho Man Randy Savage, he starts with the belt. Unfortunately, didn't get the greatest run with it. I mean, I don't really know if, other than Ted DiBiase / Andre, that he really got to feud many heels. I know you have the classic tag match at SummerSlam that year where the Mega Powers united and they teamed up together at SummerSlam. For a while, they were baby faces together. Hulk and, of course, Randy Savage together, and the top two guys in the company. But there was always these little hints and inklings that Randy didn't like how close Hulk was getting to Miss Elizabeth, right? Miss Elizabeth was, in real life, Randy Savage's wife at this time, of course, prior to their divorce in, I think, 1992, when she went on with Lex Luger and unfortunately met her untimely death due to a drug overdose while she was with Lex Luger. It's sad. I mean, you could still listen to the sad 911 call now. I mean, it's really, really sad. Her whole story it's really, really heartbreaking. And I know that everyone usually dwells and discusses how possessive Randy was of her, over possessive and protective, and he didn't trust her and things like that. And that's a shame that that was the real life thing. But I think in a weird, sick way, it helped this particular match, storyline, program, whatever you want to call it, feud, because it was realistic. You really sensed that Randy did love and care for Elizabeth and really was getting the jealous eye of Hulk Hogan looking at Elizabeth. Was he looking at her? Was he not? Did he just want the title? Did he want his glory back? Did Hogan want his torch back? And that's the whole story that they tell here. And it all kind of crescendos into this big blow off at the Saturday night's main event where Hulk Hogan, of course, runs accidentally into Miss Elizabeth and carries her to the back, and Randy Savage is pointing like, where are you going with my girl? And then they have this whole encounter, and Randy attacks Hulk backstage, thus ultimately turning him heel. And it's the whole heel turn from Randy Savage, to me, what makes him the greatest wrestler of the 1980s into the early 1990s. I do think he was the best of his era. When he was in his prime, when Randy Savage was prime, I don't think there was a better wrestler on the planet. He was a high flyer. He was the most charismatic. He was a great promo. Oh, yeah. He had everything. He had the charismatic factor that you look for in a pro wrestler. Was he the biggest guy in the world? No, but he had the biggest presence for me. I think had it not been for Hulkamania, had it not been for Hulk Hogan, it would have just been a grain of sand in the Sahara Desert known as Macho Madness. And everything about Randy was star. I mean, you couldn't deny his star power, right? I mean, the snap it to a Slim Jim, and he was Americana. Randy was just as Americana as Hulk was, but again, in the eyes of the promoter, in the eyes of the children, Hulk was the guy. Hulk was number one, and Randy couldn't stand that. And I loved the promos that Randy gives to set this WrestleMania match up, right? The Mega Powers exploding and the whole handshake thing, but his promo work, I think, was the best of his career. I saw the lust in your eyes for Miss Elizabeth. Oh, no. He's just electric and intense, and you literally see his skin go from normal natural tone to this boiling blood red as a vein kind of pops out of his head, and he's just so angry. What you did next was enough to get me to the boiling point. As he takes the glasses off, and I got news for you. I hate your guts, and that's what's going to be left all over the mat after WrestleMania 5. One of the great builds in pro wrestling history, probably my favorite. For if you're just saying the build of a match, you give me a match build that was better than this. You planted the seed a year prior. You anointed Randy. You gave him everything in the world with his lady on his shoulder and Hulk Hogan raising the other one. And then you pay it off where it gets to his head, being the champion. You never get to enjoy it. You're always worried about what's around the corner. You never get to enjoy the ride because once you reach the top, the climb seems oh so sweeter. And of course, you get this fantastic WrestleMania main event where whose corner will Miss Elizabeth be in as Hulk and Randy come down the aisle, and you can see that Miss Elizabeth cares for both of them. But when it's all said and done, they have to fight to, her honor. They have to fight each other. They have to fight for the WWF title. And man, I just love everything about this match. It's a lot of fun. It has a lot of great storytelling. Is it, in-ring, technical-wise, one of the most exciting, crazy matches you've ever seen? No, it's not. It's really not. That's maybe a big reason why it's a little bit lower on the list, because even though the storytelling is at an all-time high, I definitely think the in-ring stuff, it is your standard Hulk Hogan match. There was only so much Hulk could do in the ring. He was very limited. Granted, I've seen Hulk do great things with some great wrestlers. I've seen Hulk carry guys that shouldn't even have been in the ring with him. I'm not trying to shit on Hulk as a worker, but he was limited. But Randy, of course, he makes it exciting. He does a lot of high-flying moves to jumps to the outside to hit Hulk with axe handles and stuff like that. You do get the classic Macho Man elbow, and then Hulk classically hulks up, hits the three punches, the leg kick, and then the leg drop for the 1, 2, 3, and Hulk Hogan wins the title back at WrestleMania 5 in the Trump Plaza. One of my favorite main events. I love this match. I love the story that it told. I thought that you could clearly see that these guys liked working with each other, but you also could see that there was a legitimate jealousy and hatred that Mach had for Hulk. And man, it's sad because that kind of bled over into real life over the years. Like Randy and Hulk would always go through like this love-hate stuff. And I think towards the end, Randy really just said, listen, Hulk, you're just not a good person. And that's something that people have come to realize about Hulk Hogan, that it was really just a character he was playing. He wasn't about eat your vitamins, say your prayers, all these things. He was really playing a character. Whereas certain guys like Mach, like Ric Flair, I feel like they were never really playing a character. They were playing themselves dialed up to 11, right? Randy Savage was just Randy Poffo dialed up to 11. And I just love this match. I think this is, to me, one of the best of the first like 10 WrestleManias. This is my favorite main event of the bunch, and there's some good ones. Don't get me wrong. I really like Hulk and Warrior in the following year. I think Hulk and Slaughter was a really well told match. Not even main event wise. We will see other matches from the earlier WrestleManias on here, but this one comes in at the number 10 slot. So it's Hulk, it's the Macho Man, it's the Mega Powers exploding at WrestleMania 5. Really good one. Comment down below. Let me know if you remember this match, if you liked this match, if this is a match that would make your top 10, or perhaps if I'm overrating it. If you guys want to week by week play it out with me and count down with me, give me your top 10, that'd be awesome. If you want to just give me your top 10 right now, that's cool too. But I'll probably keep recording today. I think I'm going to shoot another video because it's snowing outside. There ain't nothing to do. It's too cold to take a shit. And I figure we'll talk about some old school pro wrestling only on the Graveyard. So everybody, thank you so much for watching. Two Sweet Peace, and we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Bye-bye, everybody.